Well, hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to another episode of Cycling Insider. In this episode, let's talk about Cannondale Topstone Carbon 5 gravel bike. But before we start, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe and hit that little bell icon because it's gonna help in growing the channel. And of course, if you are already a subscriber, then definitely thank you. So, Cannondale Topstone Carbon 5. It's a very interesting gravel bike, a bit different from other gravel bikes from the competition, but this is a signature sign from Cannondale. They always like to do their bikes a bit differently. Just think about the famous lefty fork on their mountain bikes. So this Cannondale Topstone Carbon 5 has a retail price of $3,200, and for that we can start with the paint schemes on this bike. Luckily, Cannondale is offering two paint schemes. One is this pretty classical graphite black paint scheme, and another one is a very interesting purple paint scheme. Personally, if I'm in the market for this bike, I would go with this purple paint scheme just because it looks beautiful. I'm so glad that Cannondale decided to offer two paint schemes. I mean, after all, this is a $3,200 bike, so definitely, not a cheap bike, but again, the competition does it very similarly on these levels of the prices. Now, we can dive in and we can see the specifications of this bike and really see what do you get for your hard-earned money. And at the end, I will give a little summary and say if I have any serious complaints about this bike. So as usual, we can kick off with the frame and the fork on this bike. So the frame is the Ballistek carbon fiber frame from Cannondale, and this frame comes with a very interesting Kingpin suspension system. Also 12mm through axles front and the back. It is compatible for the dropper seat post and of course internal cable routing and direct mount disc brakes. Fork, again, a Ballistek full carbon fiber fork, carbon fiber steerer, also flat mount disc brakes, 12mm through axle, and also there are mounting points for your bags. If you want to do some bike packing with this bike, then definitely you will have a lot of mounting points on the carbon fiber frame, top tube, down tube, seat tube, and even on the fork of this bike. Also keep in mind that Cannondale's carbon fiber frames and forks, they come with a lifetime warranty, which is absolutely great, and this is like my opinion that all other bike manufacturers should slowly move to lifetime warranty unless they are already offering it. So top-notch carbon fiber frame and fork from Cannondale, no special complaints here. I will also mention here that this carbon fiber frame comes with the Cannondale's BB30 bottom bracket standard. I know that some people had some problems with this BB30, but generally I'm expecting it to work totally fine. Now a bit about, this suspension, as they call it, Kingpin suspension. You see, it's a very interesting design from Cannondale. What they have done is basically on the rear triangle. First of all, they have dropped the rear triangle way down on the seat tube, and then they've put a little pivot point. So the rear triangle has a bit of movement up to 30mm. So it basically acts like a nice suspension, but they didn't have to put any shock at the back. So it's a very nice and neat solution from Cannondale. So of course you will get a bit more compliance and a bit more smoother ride on this bike, just because this rear triangle has a much more movement, as I said, up to 30mm with this pivot. Then if you only had a carbon fiber rear triangle, it would only have movement of maybe a few millimeters. This way 30mm, very interesting. Also, it would be interesting to see this pivot here. How often do you have to replace it, and what's the reliability of this system? But a very interesting design in my opinion, and definitely something different than the competition. So as I said, carbon fiber frame fork, Ballistek, lifetime warranty, absolutely superb from Cannondale. Now we can talk about the group set on this bike. So the drivetrain, the main components are the Shimano GRX group set. So Shimano GRX is a dedicated group set for gravel riding, and this is 11-speed Shimano GRX group set. This is a mechanical group set. So shifters, front mech and the rear mech, everything is Shimano's GRX. So for example, on the shifters side, you will have the Shimano's GRX 600 shifters. Now keep in mind that these shifters are not, creme de la creme shifters from Shimano GRX range. You have one level above, which is the Shimano's GRX 810 series. But these GRX 600 series perfectly fine, no complaints here. Rear mech is the Shimano's GRX 812, absolutely superb stuff. This GRX 812 can also accept the cassette up to 42 teeth, so which is absolutely great. And the front mech on the bike is the Shimano's GRX 800. So as the whole group set, absolutely superb, I have no complaints here. Now let's talk about some smaller components of the group set. For example, the chain is the KMC X11 11-speed chain, perfectly fine, no complaints. Then the rear cassette on this bike is going to be the Shimano's 105 cassette, 1134. Again, in this price range, it's a standard kind of edition of Shimano 105 cassette. Competition does the same, so I don't have any special complaints here. Also, I have to mention here that the crankset on this bike is the Cannondale's own production. Of course, BB30 bottom bracket, Cannondale's OPI spider ring, 4630 chain rings at the front, and 1134 cassette at the back. So you see, absolutely no problem in attacking steep mountains and going as fast as possible in a straight line. Because with these gravel bikes, what you want to do is basically majority of your time is probably spent on the road, but then from time to time you want to go a bit of off-roading, nothing, too demanding off-roading, and then this kind of combination of 4630 crankset at the front, 1134 chain rings, cassette at the back will give you a great range of gears. So all in all, very good components on the drivetrain. Just to mention something for the future upgrades, this is always, this cassette, Shimano 105 currently, you can always upgrade to Shimano Ultegra level, and also this chain, KMC X11, when you destroy it, you can, for example, go with the Shimano Ultegra level chain. Now let's talk about the braking system on the bike. So you see, these are Shimano's hydraulic disc brakes, a combination of Shimano GRX 600, just because the brake levers, shifters are Shimano GRX 600, and also the braking calipers, Shimano GRX 400. Braking rotors 160 millimeters front and the back, and these are the RT64 braking rotors. So just briefly about the braking system. Shimano's hydraulic disc brakes GRX level, perfectly fine, superb, I have no complaints here. I will only mention that these calipers GRX 400, again not top of the line from Shimano. You can upgrade, for example, to the RX 810 calipers, but again, I wouldn't bother with that. These RX 400 are perfectly fine. But for example, these braking rotors, Shimano RT64, center lock braking rotors, 160 millimeters front and the back. I mean, perfectly fine out of the box, but once when you destroy this one, I would definitely save some money and upgrade to the Shimano's Ultegra level braking rotors, which are basically the RT 800 braking rotors. But again, out of the box braking system, superb, perfectly fine. Now some smaller components on the bike. You see, let's talk about the handlebars and the stem. So both handlebars and the stem are Cannondale's aluminum pieces, aluminum 6061. Nothing special to add here. I'm glad that they are again separate pieces, so you can finally tune your position on the bike, and if you want to replace it in the future, it's very easy to replace these separate aluminum pieces. As it is now, handlebar stem, perfectly fine, I wouldn't touch it. Seat post and the saddle. So the saddle is the Physique Aliante Delta, should be perfectly fine saddle. Physique does very good saddles. But again, if you have the saddle you really like, and since saddles are a personal preference, I strongly recommend you to keep your own saddle. Seat post here I see is the Cannondale aluminum seat post, 27.2 millimeters. This is a bit disappointing. I wouldn't expect Cannondale to include aluminum seat post on this bike. That's disappointing. They should have included carbon fiber seat post, and you see this thing, for example, would be my immediate first upgrade, or a good point to negotiate the price of this bike. So you'll have to buy yourself a carbon fiber seat post. They are so much better than aluminum ones. They're going to soak up so much more of the road bumps, and your bike ride is going to be so much more smoother. So that's a big no-no in my book from Cannondale. Now let's talk about the wheel set on the bike. So Cannondale has done here a combination of Formula hubs, so Formula sealed cartridge bearing hubs front and the back, a 12mm through axle front and the back, and also the rims are from WTB STI 23 rims, 28 holes, tubeless ready rims. So it's a combination Formula hubs, WTB rims, classical aluminum wheel set. I would expect the weight of this wheel set to be something like 1,900 or even 2,000 grams, so absolutely nothing special in this department. I just hope that these Formula cartridge bearing hubs are going to have a good reliability. If not, then again you see this wheel set is a point of upgrade for the future. This wheel set is wrapped in the WTB Riddler tires. These are 38C tires, tubeless ready, but I will just mention here that definitely if you want to turn this wheel set into tubeless wheel set, you have to buy your own tubeless valves and tubeless tape, because I don't think this will come out of the box with tubeless tape and tubeless valves. Also with these tires, 37C tire, again, absolutely perfectly fine, good air volume. Once when you destroy this one, you can even move to the 40mm tires, just because this frame can accept 40mm tires. And also one addition that Cannondale gives you here is their Cannondale wheel sensor, so I'm guessing you can pair it with any onboard computer, read your, average speed, maximum speed, maybe elevation, and all other things that these wheel sensors can read. So, in a summary, do I have any special complaints about this bike? Again, considering the retail price of $3,200 US. So see, for this Cannondale Topstone Carbon 5, my biggest complaint is this aluminum seat post. That's an absolute no-no, and Cannondale should have included a carbon fiber seat post. So this would be my first point of change of buying a carbon fiber seat post, or a good point to negotiate the price of this bike and get a bit of discount. Or again, you can ask the shop to drop in, for example, a helmet, gloves, some bibs, t-shirt, whatever equipment you need. Then from some other things just to think about for the future, these braking rotors are now pretty basic Shimano's RT64 braking rotors. So when you destroy these, I would definitely upgrade to the Shimano Ultegra level braking rotors. And of course, since at some point you will destroy this chain and the cassette, I would think about upgrading to the Shimano Ultegra level cassette, 1134 of course. And this chain KMCX11, I would probably upgrade to the Shimano Ultegra level chain. Except from that, of course, the next biggest point, which will require much more money, is a better wheel set. You know that my first recommendation is always DT Swiss wheels. If you can save some money, definitely have a look at DT Swiss wheels. For about $500 US, you can get a very, very good aluminum DT Swiss wheels. So this is kind of a summary of this bike. I think Cannondale has done a pretty decent job for $3,200 US. Nothing spectacular. The key interesting point of this bike is this Kingpin suspension, which is definitely different from the competition. So your rear triangle will have a movement of about 30mm and definitely will give you a smoother bike ride. So I think this is going to be it for today. I hope you like what I'm doing, and if you do, please do subscribe and hit that little bell icon so you're always notified when I make a new video. And as always, I will see you soon in the next episode. Pura Vida!